everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV, More Than Meets the Third Eye. I'm your host, Queen AhmadiyyahShakur, and I have a guest on here today, God Ausere. He's going to be talking to us about astral projection and lucid dreaming. Okay, so let's see who we have in here. Hello, Mr. Hotel, Melanin A1. All right, Nessie X, I see you, beloved. Kathy B is in the house, Aboriginal woman. Okay, so listen, everybody, let's get some fire emojis in the chat. Let's get those fire emojis in the chat. All right, hey, Timber Dan. Shout out to my moderators putting in work. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to wait a couple of minutes for a few more people to get started or to get in here. So I'm going to go ahead and let you give yourself, give an introduction of yourself, God Ausere. And you can tell them a little bit about you can tell them a little bit about your metaphysical background if you like.
Okay, cool. So, can you hear me well?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, peace, family. I go by Ausere or God Ausere, and yeah. So basically, a little bit about me is, I am, what you would call a seer for one. You know what I'm saying? As far as my background, in spirituality, it kind of, started. I started off really, I always knew I could see certain things from a child. You know what I'm saying? And I kind of started off doing music, got into music. I'm still into music, but basically, the divine, you know what I'm saying? The universe kind of redirected my path. I actually had an awakening some years back, and then, that kind of led me to where I am now. So basically, a lot of what I speak about mainly comes from a place of experiences. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So going through my rites of passage, it just brought me to a place of, waking up to my own power, because I went through some things as far as like even things that I thought might have been health challenges and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So it was to the point to where I would have these issues to where like I'm having real bad heart palpitations. I'm feeling all of these things going on in my body. And I would go to the hospital and they would tell me everything looks great. You in great shape. Everything is fine. So after going through that several times, I started to realize that what I was doing was picking up other people's energy. And that's when I had to learn how to master that power and, figure out, okay, it kind of felt like a gift and a curse at first. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, but nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of that going through those type things is what led me to where I am now. And also too, being conscious and coming up under, some of my master teachers that was around me. So even on the side of us as a people, I got that side in me too. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm at, man. Yeah. So
okay, that sounds good. Do you have prophetic dreams or see visions or anything like that?
I actually do. That's why I like even a lot of things I speak on when I'm telling people about things to prepare for. It often comes to me as a vision. I often see things like before they happen. And so, it's my job to like share it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's been several things. It's been quite a few things that I've seen in visions or dreams, like, and then they actually end up happening. So yeah, I actually do see things, you know what I'm saying, in dreams and visions. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have the same experience. More so dreams that come true. I've had visions a few times, but all my life I've had dreams that come true. For example, before Kobe Bryant died, like maybe a week or two before, I had a prophetic dream. But in the dream, I couldn't see the person's face, but a celebrity passed away. And I talked about it on my live before it happened. And I said, there's someone that's very significant that everybody loves, and this person's going to pass away very soon. And then like maybe a week or so, I think maybe it was 2 weeks, Kobe Bryant passed away. But also another thing too, 2 days before he passed away, I had a vision. I was doing some research online, and an image popped in my mind of him on the cover of a magazine holding a basketball, and it said Kobe Bryant dead at age 40. And so I said, wait a minute, where did I
Wow.
see this? I'm thinking that maybe I saw it, on the internet or something. So I asked my son, I said, is Kobe Bryant dead? And he was like, no, why would you ask me that? And so then 2 days later, he passed away. Also, prior to 9/11, I dreamt about planes crashing into a building for like a whole week. I was so concerned about it that I actually called the Federal Aviation Administration. And I told them that I thought something strange was going to happen or whatever. And I also had seen some planes flying very low in an area of town. They were like they weren't commercial planes, and they were doing all these flips and turns. And I told them about that too. They said they thought it was probably some fighter pilots. But 9/11 happened like that Tuesday, and I think I had called the Aviation Administration on, I think it was a Friday. And then that Saturday, that's when I saw the planes flying really low. And so anyway, it was real crazy. But my friend called me Tuesday morning of 9/11, and she said, are you awake? And I was like, no, I'm asleep. She was like, girl, your dream is on the news. So that was real crazy. But
Wow.
Haiti, the earthquake in Haiti, I believe it's in 2009. I dreamt that also. Okay, so now let's
Yeah.
talk about astral projection. Now, I want to ask you, do you feel like astral projection and lucid dreaming are intertwined?
No. And that's kind of another thing is sometimes people like to mix them as being kind of the same thing, and that they're not the
Right.
same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in lucid dreaming, what you're doing when you lucid dream is you actually going into a dream and you're taking your consciousness with you into the dream. Meaning, when you get into the dream, you can actually control where you go, how you do it, what you do while you inside of the dream. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Right.
Versus astral projection is when you actually are traveling outside of your physical vessel. You actually
Mm-hmm.
leave your body during astral projection. And technically you leave the body every night when you sleep, but with astral projection, what you're doing is, you know what I'm saying, you actually are you are experiencing yourself outside of the body,
Mm-hmm.
um in an astral state, in your astral body, versus a dream.
Right.
Lucid dreaming is like, taking your consciousness into the dream with you, being
Right.
aware of the dream. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Right. And realizing it's like I've had lucid dreams before where it felt like I would wake up. In the dream, I would wake up, right? And then I would know that I was in a
Right, right.
dream, and I could literally see myself. It's like I'm looking at myself, and everything in the dream, I could control it, but I noticed that certain things in the dream were so very real, like stepping on the grass. I remember in one dream I walked outside barefoot, and I stepped on the grass, and I could literally feel the dew on the grass. You know what I'm saying? Or if you touch yourself, you can
Yeah,
really literally feel it. I also had a dream one time that someone
yeah.
shot me, and as the blood was pouring down my neck where I was shot at, it was very warm. I could literally feel the warmth of the blood. It was like so real. And so yeah, and then with astral projection. Okay, so let me ask you this. When people have said they've had near death experiences, or when people have undergone surgery and they say they've seen themselves on the surgery, on the gurney during the surgery, and they were floating above at the ceiling. Now, would you consider that to be astral projection or something different? Because some people don't think that's the same thing as astral projection. What do you think about that?
Um. Well, I would consider that to be similar to, astral projecting. Because see, what happens is when you astral project, you have something called an etheric cord that's keeping you tied to your body.
That
You know
silver
what I'm
cord.
saying? So, like, yeah, that cord is what makes sure you come back. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, um, like when a person, when a person have near death experience, it's pretty similar. It's kind of the same concept, but you know what I'm saying. It's like you in a place of, how can I put it? versus astral projection, a lot of times, like you might be sleeping, you leave the body, and you know what I'm saying. You know, you ain't really you kind of more aware in more cases than not when you're going through that. Versus like a near death experience that might actually happen suddenly, and
Right.
you actually you actually go into a place. It depends on your experience with near death experiences, because some people get as far as actually you see a light on one side and you see darkness on the other side. A lot of people tell you go toward the light or don't go toward the
Right.
light. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what a lot of people don't know is that you know, going toward the darkness is what a lot of times, you know, we should seek, because light comes out of darkness. When you go into that light, it can actually throw you back into a cycle of reincarnation. And sometimes you have to be aware of the ones that you call ancestors or spirits that's saying, you know, telling you to come on, come on, come on. Sometimes they might not be your real or true ancestors. So you have to have
Right.
discernment when you're going through
That's
those type of
right.
experiences. You know what I'm saying?
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm very glad you brought that up about the light and the darkness, because that's what I was telling a friend of mine last year sometime. I was saying that, you know, people tell us to go toward the light, but that really doesn't make sense to me, because in the Bible it says first there was darkness and then there was light. So if darkness came first,
Absolutely.
I would think that you would move toward the darkness. But most people are afraid of the dark, and they associate the darkness with something negative. And so I've also, you know, read before also that if you go towards the light, there can be something, you know, you can be like recycled, come back and reincarnated or whatever. And some people, when they leave here, they don't want to come back. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so
Yeah. Hey.
that's
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah.
let me to add to that. Let me say this
Mm-hmm.
too. You know, you you cannot be afraid of the dark. Like, you know what I'm saying? Everything, like, the goal is not to go toward the light. The goal is to become the light while in the darkness. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? You
Yes.
are the
Okay.
light. We all have an inner light. You know what I'm saying? We have the same way, you know, we have a sun, we have an inner sun. You know what I'm saying? That's your light.
Right.
You know, so yeah, so that's the key. You cannot be afraid of the dark. In fact, that's how that is where transmutation happens. You know what I'm saying? Transmutation of
Really.
energy. You have
Okay.
polarities. You have you know what I'm saying? Everything is about polarity. You have a light and a
Mm-hmm.
dark side, a negative and a positive to everything. So
Right.
yeah.
Okay. That's a very interesting point. That's a very interesting point.
Mhm.
Okay, so do you think that people can induce lucid dreams if they want to? Because I see people
Oh yeah.
online saying that they can teach you to, you know, lucid dream or whatever. I've never tried to
Mhm.
induce it. When I've had them, they always happen naturally, and they usually happen, in my experience, you know, usually I would say when you're in a deep state of sleep, probably the REM sleep, which for me is usually between 2 a.m. and 7 a.m. That's also the time that I usually have my prophetic dreams also. So you think that people can be taught to have lucid dreams?
Um, yes. I mean, I feel like it's like you, most of mine came naturally when it first started happening to me. It kind of happened on its own as I was like raising my consciousness up. You know what I'm saying? And it just started
Right.
happening. But there are things that you can do to induce it. You know what I'm saying? Of course,
Mm-hmm.
nobody can go in and have a dream for you, but you know, it's things that they can you know, it's things that can be done to induce it. Yeah. And the same for
Right.
astral travel. And it's certain techniques. If you want to do it with intention, then it's certain things you can do to bring that about. Yeah.
Okay. And you know, another thing is neuroscientists have said that people who have who astral project, they tend to have a larger prefrontal lobe than people who do not. I thought that was interesting because
Mm,
that comes from
that's interesting.
right, because they said that when you're doing this, it's the prefrontal lobe that is actually working, which is the part of our consciousness that gives us the ability to make decisions and things like that. And they said that, you know, there's usually more activity because when you go to sleep, the prefrontal lobe is like offline. Okay. But for people, when they astral travel, it's partially awake. And so that's why, and they say
Mm-hmm.
that these people usually have a larger prefrontal lobe. I thought that was very interesting. Um, Kenyatta says you can
That's
choose what you
interesting.
want to dream. Yeah, that is interesting, right? Okay, so now,
Yeah. Yeah.
so do you ever have dreams about the ancestors, um, or being in the physically in the spiritual realm or anything like that?
Um, you mean like, um, do I have dreams about the ancestors and like where they are now? You mean like passed over ancestors or?
Right, right. Ancestors that have passed
Yeah.
on, like maybe coming to you in a dream and giving you a message, you know, um,
Yeah.
just interacting with
Yeah.
you in some type of way to give you a warning about something, maybe.
All the time. All the time. In fact,
Really?
a lot of my a lot of my ancestral contact comes even when I'm awake, like directly. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
uh they always with me. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter where I'm at, where what I'm doing. They'll give me that knock and let me know that they with me. And sometimes it's in dreams. I can, they come to me in dreams, but a lot of times, they may be with me. I see, the thing is, it's like our ancestors a lot of times communicate in symbols. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
it ain't always, yeah, they not gonna like always just show up and be like talking and you know what I'm saying?
right.
Most of the time the contact that I've had has been in uh in symbols. I'm gonna share this with you though while we on that topic.
Okay.
I had an incident where I had I wanted to meet, we have what we call spirit guides.
Right.
And some ancestors can be spirit guides, but a lot of time your spirit guide is something completely separate from just like your family member ancestors. But
Mm-hmm.
so I had asked spirit, I had my altar set up. This was probably some years back. And I
Okay.
went and I was like, I said I want to meet my spirit guide because everybody has at least one that is in there,
Right.
and that spirit guide's yeah, and that spirit guide's assignment is to assist you from the time that you hear. You might not have met them or seen them, but they with you. So
Mm-hmm.
I asked that I said I wanted to see, I asked spirit, I was like, I want to see my spirit guide. I want to meet my spirit guide. And I kept saying that. And so within a week, I had a, a dream, but very vivid dream. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And a lady showed up and she said, she beautiful like you had the rap, you know what I'm saying? And I asked her who she was. She said, I'm your tour guide. I'm like, tour guide? I'm like, then it dawned on me. I'm like, oh shit. So, I asked for, my spirit guide.
Right.
And it went as far as to her, yeah, and it went as far as to her telling me what tribe she was from. I asked her. And I was not familiar with this tribe, never looked it up, none of that. I went and
Mm-hmm.
looked it up after that, and you know, it taught me a lot after that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
Wow. That's
yeah.
amazing. Okay. Now, do you think that the spirit guide is what some people refer to as a guardian angel?
Um,
Or do you think they're two
um,
different things?
they can be. They all are. At the end of the day, they all are your guides. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
a spirit guide can be a guardian angel as well. But you have angels, spirit guides, ancestors, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they can intertwine with one another. So yeah, they
Right.
can be the same. Mhm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So you say the ancestors being with you. Now, have you ever had someone tell you that they saw the ancestors? Because I walked into a store one time years ago, and this lady came right up to me.
Mhm.
She said that she was a psychic and she knew that I was too. And she asked me what tribe I was from. And I thought that was interesting
Mhm.
because I'm Cherokee. And I was wondering how she knew that, but she did say she was psychic. But then she told me, she said, she saw the spirit of the shaman all around me. Now, I thought that was very interesting because earlier that day, I had gone to a store to buy some stones and crystals. And I told my friends that were with me that I was going to buy this pouch to keep my stones in and wear it around my neck. I said, because that's what the shaman did. And they were like, how do you know what the shaman did? And I was like, I don't know. I just know. And so when she told me, like maybe an hour or two later, when I went in that store and she said she saw the shaman all around me, I said, that's how I knew, because they were obviously telling me, my ancestors. And I've had them visit me in my dreams to do like a smudging ritual on me for protection and things like that.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so tell us about some of the things you've experienced as far as encounters with otherworldly beings. Some people call them malevolent
Yeah.
spirits,
So
benevolent, whether good or bad.
yeah, I done had encounters with both. You know what I'm saying? I done had encounters with both, and some of the things like you know, I have experience with let's say like a first I talk about like a benevolent or malevolent spirit. You said so.
Okay.
Um, some experiences I had with that is like you know, I've been in like say for example a dream state or even an awakening state. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I remember nights, you know, I would wake up and I would see this figure like you know what I'm saying? I can't explain it in the words, like kind of just standing by my bed, like
Mm-hmm.
watching me. You know what I'm saying? And how I know when something is you know how you know when it's a spirit that's for your greatest good is the way that you go out going off the way that you feel. You know what I'm saying? When it
Right.
shows up.
Right.
And yeah, so I've seen things like that. And also you know, as far as any other entities I work with, like for example, I was working with Lakshmi,
Okay.
the Hindu goddess. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing like the you know, doing the chants and stuff at that time, and she showed up to me, and like man, when I say like literally the whole vibe just shifted in the room. Another thing that I did too is I channeled Whitney Houston, uh Aaliyah, and uh Left Eye. I would always do this in the ninth month, which is September, because the nine always symbolizes feminine energy. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You can't spell feminine without the number nine, feminine. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Woman,
Right.
9 months, 9 month gestational period.
I
Nine is
never thought about that.
yeah, yeah. But I was doing that and stuff like, you know what I'm saying? And at that time, I channeled that. And when I say like out of those like different, I was playing the music.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say like when Whitney Houston's spirit, her energy came through, like the whole room, the whole room just like lit up. I could see orbs, everything. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Her energy and the energy, and even Left Eye, her energy was just as chaotic as it was when she was here. You know what I'm saying? Like it was
Wow.
chaotic. So I've had experiences like that, man, where I've channeled. And the one key is that doing that early on, I had to learn how to close that portal back up and only be sure you invite in what you wish to work with. Because if you leave that door open, other spirits and energies can actually come through. And
Yes.
that's what happened with me. And I had to learn the hard way. You know what I'm saying? Through
Mm-hmm.
experience. But you know, experience is the best teacher, you know?
That's right. That's right. That's the same thing they say about when
Yeah.
people mess with Ouija boards. When they take their hands off the oracle or off
Mhm.
the board, if they don't say goodbye to the spirit, or the spirit can stay there, or other spirits can come through and all that kind of stuff. And that's something that
Yeah.
I don't advise anybody to mess with, because I did that once when I was in college, and trust me, I regretted it. I surely did.
Yeah. Yeah. I never messed with the boards.
Yeah, I wish I had. Trust me.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about sleep paralysis? Now, do you think that has anything to do with astral projection? Some people think that. I actually heard the rapper Joey Badass. He was saying that
Yeah.
people are afraid of sleep paralysis. He said, but that's actually a gateway to astral projection. Uh, and he talked about having astral projected and traveled around the world, going to different places and stuff. Now, what do you think about that?
Yeah. So sleep paralysis, what that is like you leaving you actually leaving your body. It's actually a form of astral projection, but in those cases you're not conscious of it. So what happens is your spirit is out of the body, and sometimes you know what I'm saying, you'll wake up before your spirit actually settles back down into the
Right.
body. This is why your physical body can't move, because there's nobody inside the vehicle to drive it.
Right.
You
The
know what I'm
spirit's
saying?
not
So
there. Right.
it's not there. So what happens is people think, oh, the devil riding my back is something on me. No, that's you trying to get back to yourself. You know what I'm saying? All that
Right.
talking about, we got, it was a monster on me, and I tried to yell for Jesus, and nothing would come out. You can't, it don't matter how hard you try to scream. It's like you yelling and you can't get the words out. That's because
Right.
your spirit has not settled back into the body. And the best thing for you to do in those cases is to actually just calm down and relax and allow yourself to settle back down into the body. And if you notice, you panic more in those cases. 9 times out of 10, you probably was sleeping on your stomach or on your side. If you're
Okay.
gonna do astral projection, it's best to lay on your back. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Because when you
Yes.
land on your stomach and you feeling yourself trying to come back in, you panicking because you can't turn around and look and see what's trying to come back. You know what I'm saying? It feel
Right.
like something is on you. So
Right.
yeah, so that's
Okay.
all sleep paralysis is. It's nothing to be afraid of. They give all these medical terms and things like that to a lot of things that they don't understand. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
That's what that is. I
yeah,
agree.
so
I
yeah.
agree. So I had an experience once where I woke up and I couldn't move, I couldn't say anything, sleep paralysis. And then I don't know how long it was. It seemed like it happened kind of quickly, but all of a sudden I felt something just like fall into me, like fall into my chest. Now that was probably my spirit
Mm,
entering back into my body. And a good point that you made was when you have sleep paralysis, the body has left, or the spirit has left the body, and you weren't consciously aware of it. But when a person purposely tries to have an out of body experience, or astral projects, when they purposely do it, then they're consciously aware of it. And so they can, they know what they're doing. They know that they've left the body. They know that they're traveling around or going to different places or whatever. So that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense.
mhm.
So give me some instances of where you have astral projected. Like what did you do? Did you purposely do it? You said mostly it just happens, right? When you would astral project. But
Yeah,
did
right.
you go to places that
The
maybe do you recall seeing places that you'd already gone to before? Like deja vu or anything like that?
Yeah, so well, I'll say this: the very first time I astral projected, I wasn't trying to. Again, this is when I like I said, I had these abilities and these gifts, but this is when I was first waking up to them. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
the more I started studying and started learning more about myself and learning how to communicate with spirit, and you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
these things naturally started to happen as I was raising my vibration. So the first time I did it, it was like I didn't realize, when I realized what was happening and I was out of the body, I got about as high as the ceiling in my house, and I was looking back down at myself. And then I was like, man, I had to go back. I just like, because it was my first time. So I went back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, let me brace myself for the next time, because I was like, man, but it was exciting. So that was the
Yeah.
first experience. But then I've had experiences to where like I'm outside of the body, and it's like I'm in like space. Like I'm flying, like I'm seeing planets and things that's just like, man, you know what I'm saying? I never
Really?
seen. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, and when you in the astral realm, or when you in the dream state, you notice time does not exist. Time
Right.
only exists here in the 3D. Yeah. This is
Mm-hmm.
why when you in a dream state, or when you in that realm, you can sometimes you can bounce from one place to another. You can switch dreams because time does not exist outside of the the 3D realm. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So man, yeah. And I've also had experience where I was uh communicating, like the person, my partner that I was with at the time, like as I was asleep, they would say, well, you speaking, I heard you talking to somebody in your sleep or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I know I was conscious of what was going on while I was in it, but I was not they wasn't. So it's like I say that to say that, like, whenever if you see somebody speaking or talking in their sleep or anything like that, it's best to just not try to like wake them up,
Wake them.
because you're gonna wake them up before they get a chance to settle back into the body, and
Mm.
that can be not good. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
not to get off topic,
Okay.
but yeah,
No, but that's very
yeah.
interesting. That's very interesting.
Mhm.
Okay, now let me ask you this. Have you ever um on purpose or inadvertently pulled someone into your dream? Because I have done that.
Yes, yes.
Really? That's crazy,
Hmm.
right? I mean, when I was
Yeah, yeah.
younger and I saw Nightmare on Elm Street, I had no
Hmm.
idea that you can literally do that. Now, the first time that happened to me,
Yeah.
I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't do it on purpose. But what happened was I was working at this place and I met this woman. I didn't know her very well because I was just working there like part time every now and then. And so one day she comes up to me and she tells me her dream that she had. And she's telling me the same dream that I had 2 years prior. And so I thought it was
Mm.
crazy. She was describing it, everything the same way, using the same words that I had used to describe the dream. And it was crazy. So I spoke with this older guy who was a shaman, and I was telling him about it. And I
Mhm.
said, well, he said that I had pulled her into the dream. And I said, but how did I pull her into my dream when my dream was 2 years ago? And that's when he told me, he said, there's no time in the dream realm. The time doesn't
It's
exist. So
not.
if it seemed like it was 2 years ago in this realm, it could have been it was at the same time then. And I was like, that's real crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
really
It,
interesting.
it's
But well, once I realized that I could do that, I was then able to do it purposefully. I would just
right,
I could concentrate on it, meditate on it really hard before I fell asleep, and then I could actually do it. Now, there is
right.
a documented case of astral projection, and it happened over in the UK years ago. You may have heard about it. There was a woman who was her and her husband were trying to purchase a house, and they went looking for houses, and they found this big, huge, beautiful house. The husband didn't feel like they could afford it, said it was out of the budget, but the wife had told him about this same house because she had dreamt about it for like 4 or 5 days. And when they rode past it, she was like, "No, stop right here. This is the house that I saw in my dreams." So she goes into the
Hmm.
house, makes a bid on it, and they accept it. But when the owner comes out to meet them, the owner says, well, the real estate agent said the reason they were selling the house for so cheap is because the owner thought it was haunted. So then when the owner comes out to meet the couple, she drops her cup and she screams and says, "You're the ghost that's been haunting my house." So clearly the woman must have
Hmm.
been astral projected. And so
Hmm.
do you
Yeah,
think
it's interesting.
Yeah, it is, right? And do you think that sometimes when people think they're seeing ghosts, that what they're actually seeing possibly is someone whose spirit has left the body while they're asleep or something, and they're just out astral projecting?
Yeah, I was glad. It's crazy you brought that up because I was just about to talk about that. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah. So, yeah, I actually have. I've been able to do that in the past. Like I had, and of course, it was somebody. When I was able to leave my body and actually go visit. I was actually able to go visit certain individuals. I made sure we had an understanding that it was going to be an experience that I could do that. It's like I'm not going to just pop up, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
and go against nobody's will, because then you breaking what you call universal laws. You know what I'm saying? You imposing on somebody's will. Yeah. So, but I've been able to do that, and it was all the way to the point to where, like, when I did it, you know what I'm saying? The person they was able to tell me, they was able to feel me and everything, you know what I'm saying, as I left the body and actually went to their location. And, you know, it was an amazing experience. Like, they was able to feel that energy in the room with them and all. Like, so, yeah, it's definitely possible. But when people feel what they call, again, like, or what, you know, ghost, or, you know, or what they deem as to be evil spirits or entities, I feel like, you know, I guess if you don't know, you know, it might be, you might be able to mistake it, but usually that's a different type of feeling, you know what I'm saying? You know, you might get real cold, you know what I'm saying, whenever it's a spirit nearby you, or a spirit in the room, you know. And, you know, you get those chills, you know what I'm saying? You can you can definitely tell the difference versus one of your ancestors or spirit guides or something that's there, that is there for you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah.
I remember
Protect
years.
yourself.
Right. Now, I remember years ago,
Yeah.
I woke up in the middle of the night and there was a spirit in my closet. Like, just looking through my clothes, just going, you know, just looking at the clothes on the rack like they were in a store or something, right? And the first thing I thought was it was a ghost. I thought it was a ghost. Of course, I wasn't as you know, aware of these things then as I am now. And so I just thought it was a ghost, but for whatever reason, it didn't frighten me. I didn't feel any type of way, you know. I felt peaceful. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't say anything to them. I just sat there and watched them. And then a few minutes later, they disappeared. And so that was probably somebody astral projected. But at the time, I thought clearly it was a ghost. So that's very interesting. Very interesting.
Wow.
Nessa G said, you always smell cigarettes, Nessa G. Maybe it's someone visiting you that obviously smoked.
Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah, that's a sign, because I have ancestors like that too. Like, I had an aunt that passed over, and she would always come over to the house, and she had a specific scent. And, you know, after she passed, you could always smell that scent moving through the house. You know what I'm saying? That's when I knew she was there. So, you smell cigarettes all the time. That's definitely probably an ancestor that smokes cigarettes, or, you know what I'm saying? That's probably their signature. If you set up an ancestral altar and, you know, you figure out who that person is, you might want to put you some cigarettes up on that altar.
Yeah, something that they like. Absolutely.
That they like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have an ancestral altar also. I actually have mine in my bedroom. I heard somebody say that you shouldn't keep them in your bedroom. I don't know why, but I keep mine in there. And you know, I pray to the ancestors, I talk to them and stuff like that, and I leave an offering every now and then for my grandmother, my great aunts, you know, just different people. But I forgot what I was going to ask you. So, when you are communicating, you know, with these entities, are they ever giving you like information of future things that might occur?
Yeah. Usually when I get information for as things that may occur, it's usually, a lot of times it comes in the form of like visions. But as far as now, I do get like spirits send me certain warnings and things of that nature for like my own personal protection and use and whatnot. And they it's like this, man, like spirit will tap you on the shoulder and try to communicate something to you. If you hear, if you listen, and, you know, you able to pick up on that message, then you can act accordingly. But then the more you not listening, the harder they gonna knock. Like, I mean, like, You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
then you start seeing things like to the point to where I had one point where spirit was trying to get my attention so much at one point because I knew that I was supposed to be, you know, doing what I'm doing now. And I knew then, you know what I'm saying? But I
Mm-hmm.
kind of got off the path a little bit. They nudged me a couple of times. Like, okay, like nigga, you still ain't get it? Like, okay. You know, so I got to a point where I got into, I'm driving, all of a sudden the car just starts spinning out of control. I run off the road, bam, hit a like one of those telephone poles.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole time the car spinning, I can't see nothing but my light spinning. But while that's going on, I came out of it without a scratch on me at all.
Oh wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Got out the car and walked away. But that was what that was my ancestors and my spirit guys telling me, you know what I'm saying? We've been trying to get your attention.
Right.
Maybe this gonna get your attention. You know what I'm saying? So I had to do. I knew I was good. I mean, they was protecting me, but they had to show me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So a lot of times we get that type of contact, things like that happen. We wonder why is this happening to us instead of asking what is the universe or what is spirit trying to tell me or show me? Because
Right.
being said, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I've had ancestors, you know, bring me messages and things like that. But also, there's been times where I've seen like the signs and symbols that you talk about. Sometimes it's been like angel numbers, what they call it, where you see the triple digits. I may see one of my ancestors' birth dates keep popping up in different places. I've seen orbs of light and things like that. And I always pay attention because I know they're trying to relate something to me. Some
Right.
people just are not conscious enough to be aware that it's the ancestors trying to get their attention. And also, a lot of people, when they see these orbs of light, which is energy, a lot of people are afraid of that. You know, they are fearful of it
Mm-hmm.
because they don't understand the spiritual realm. And also, when you said the ancestors would
Mm-hmm.
tap us on the shoulder sometime, I actually had one of my ancestors tap me on the shoulder. I had a medical procedure to be done one day. This was a few years ago. And I forgot to set my alarm clock and I fell asleep. And my cousin, who passed away from a brain tumor, tapped me on my shoulder and I heard him whisper in my ear. He was like, "Wake up, get up. It's time to get up." And woke up and I
Mm-hmm.
was looking for him, you know, but I didn't see anything there. But I knew that he had woke me up. Also, I had my great
Mm-hmm.
aunt when she passed away. She visited me. Like when the family called me to tell me that she had passed, I already knew. I told them, you know, they called me like 5 in the morning and I already knew. And I said, I know. I said, Aunt Ola is dead. And they were like, "How did you know? Who called you?" And I said, "She came to visit me." She was literally standing at the foot of my bed. And
Right.
it was crazy because she had on this red satin robe that my grandmother, who was
Mm-hmm.
her sister, had always worn. And so when my grandmother passed away, she gave that robe to my aunt, to my great aunt. And so I always associated that robe with death, you know, because I knew my grandmother, that was her favorite robe. And but anyway, when she was standing at the foot of my bed, she was wearing that robe. So I immediately knew that she had passed away. You know, she didn't say anything.
Wow.
She was just standing there. But yeah.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I experienced that too. Like I remember one of my aunts passed, and you know, while everybody was, they had hospice at her home,
Mm-hmm.
and while everybody was there gathered around her body, she was, she was still technically alive, but they was just there making her comfortable. I wasn't there at first, but while they were there, she was there with me in spirit. Like a lot of times, they already gone even before the announcement come. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? They are she
Mm-hmm.
was already gone. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
and my job is, or our job is, some of us is to guide them and let them know it's okay to leave. And sometimes I've had to help certain ancestors actually cross over or get to that next
Really?
level because the journey don't stop when you leave here. Like it don't stop. In fact, it's just beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Right. And you know, that's why I say that death is an illusion. Because death is not the ending, it's just the beginning of another phase of life, as far as I'm concerned. In a whole different realm of existence. Hundia says, I can feel death, but I'm too emotional to see where it's going to be. Okay, everyone make sure you get the likes up. Someone says they keep seeing 209, which was my childhood home, and I think that it's my mother and father. It could be, beloved. It could be. Because like you said, they send us right. And because like you said, they send us signs and symbols.
Right.
So
right. Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit more about lucid dreaming. Some things that you've experienced, like maybe did you feel something, like how I said I stepped on the grass and I could feel the dew underneath my feet, the blood running down my neck, or anything like that. Yeah, tell us a little bit if you've experienced anything like that.
Yeah, so lucid dreaming, I done experienced some things to where like and again, I'm gonna revert back to, I remember you had you told me about the guy you had on talking about spirit spouses and whatnot. I had never really well, I have heard of that term before, but like, so going into that, you know what I'm saying? Like I've been in the dream realm, in the spirit realm, and you know what I'm saying? You actually have the opposite sex in the dream realm, that you might connect with in that realm, you know what I'm saying? And again, keep in mind that we're not talking physical, we talking spiritual. But I've had experiences where, you know what I'm saying, I've had experiences with the opposite sex in that realm, and I could feel everything just as though if it was physically being done, to the point to where, like, you know what I'm saying, you wake up out of the dream and it's like you trying to decipher, like, did this just happen, or you know what I'm saying? Like, man, like I'm gonna keep it real with you, man. Like, man, listen, you might have to wake up and go wash your sheets or something, man. Like, it get that serious in these situations. I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, but again, it happens in that realm. Like, and it's also, I done had dreams to where, like, I remember, being in places where I could actually smell, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was on the beach, for example, lucid dreaming on the beach. And, I could feel, just like I'm walking on the sand, I can hear the water, and that smell, that ocean smell was still, even when I woke up, I could still smell the ocean smell, you know what I'm saying? In my nose and stuff like that. So yeah, I had experiences like that too, where I could feel pretty much everything. Like, so, again, when we go into the dream world and in the dream realm, it's not like we can't look at it as being not real, because it's definitely real. We exist on multiple dimensions. You know what I'm saying? What we call 3D right now, this right here is the dream. You know what I'm saying? You actually wake up when you go to sleep.
You know what? It's interesting you said that, because that's what my native ancestors believed. They believed that when you were, I want to make sure I say this right. They believed that when you were asleep, that your they believe that when you go to sleep, your spirit leaves the body and goes, living its life or whatever. But when the spirit returns and then you wake up, now you're the spirit's dream. Basically what you said, I don't know if I said that exactly right, but basically what you said, like this is the dream. But it reminds me, of that song, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, 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 life is but a dream, right? So that's really interesting. That's really interesting. Okay, I love it.
Because now go ahead.
Oh, well, I was going to say, you mentioned earlier that when someone's talking in their sleep, it's not good to wake them up. So now what do you think about people that are sleepwalking? What do you think causes people to sleepwalk? Do you think that has anything to do with lucid dreaming? And maybe if they are sleepwalking, should we wake them up or no?
I always say, my thing is I always say no. Uh, when you sleepwalking, I think like with sleepwalking, it's kind of like you kind of in that state of between uh, you between sleep. I think it's like a you between sleep and awake, but it's
Okay.
like
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So you know you conscious, but you're not kind of like you walking around the house, but you kind of between the sleep state and the awakened state. You kind of in that middle, you know, that middle point. You know what I'm saying? It's a certain
Right.
frequency that you tap into right before you, as you going to sleep. You know, you get to that point to where it's like you falling asleep, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but you're not all the way fully asleep yet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when people sleepwalk, they kind of in that middle state. And I always say like to just let them be, like, you know, I mean,
Right.
that's just my take on it, you know.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. Um, I actually was sleepwalking one time. I knew that I was up walking around. I don't recall knowing that I was asleep until I bumped into the patio window. Like I got out of the
Yeah,
bed. It's like I was almost like I was in a trance. I got up out of the
right.
bed and I
Yeah,
walked from my bedroom down the hallway, into the living room, and then I walked into the patio, the glass of the patio, and that kind of woke me out of it.
woke you up.
Yeah.
That's yeah, and I had that experience too. I, you know, sleepwalking, and you know, I didn't realize I was sleepwalking until I ran into the wall, and then and I woke up. So
Right.
you like in you ain't, like you said, a trance. You in more like a theta brainwave state. You in more of a theta state, which like that's the state that you kind of want to get into when you getting into like deep meditation. You're not really
Okay.
sleep, but you in like a theta or an alpha state. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And that's the state that you in with, like if you trying to really manifest something, when you get into that state or that frequency, that's how you actually pull things into your physical existence. You know what I'm saying? So
So like
yeah,
a
man.
self-induced, would you that's like a self-induced trance.
Right.
That's what it
Get
sounds
into
like. Okay.
that trance state. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Okay. So what do you think about this? I remember years ago, when I was in college, I was driving home from work. I had to work like 11 at night to 7 in the morning. And then my college was like maybe almost an hour away from the job. So I was driving and I literally had to be asleep with my eyes open, because I remember when I came to, I was two exits past where I was supposed to get off. And I was like, oh my God, how did I get here and not crash? But it's like my brain was on autopilot or something. What do you think about that? Because I thought that was so crazy. I think that's the only time that's happened.
Yeah. Yeah, that's happened to me too several times. And
Really?
it happens to people. Yeah, you know, you would have been in that situation where it's like you driving or something like that, or you might be driving an hour or two, and you don't know what happened between the point that you left and the point that you got home. You don't even really remember
Right.
driving home. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's what you call being in what you call the flow state. Or again, that goes back into like that alpha or theta state of consciousness. So
Mm-hmm.
like when you in that state, that is like that's the state that you want to be in when you create. Like I'm a musician, so like musicians get into it where you get
Mm-hmm.
into that zone. It's like you don't see nothing else outside of you. You just know you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you on autopilot. That's called like
Right.
literally, you know, you want to like lose your mind, not lose your mind like in human terms, but you want to like let it go and you know
Right.
be in that moment. So that's a powerful place to be. Usually when we do it though, we not trying to do it. But
Right. I
if
definitely
you can get
wasn't.
into that state right there, get into that state when you actually trying to manifest something,
Mm-hmm.
that's where you want to be at. Because when you thinking, too much. You're using more of your conscious mind and not using your subconscious mind.
Right. And the subconscious mind is what we need to manifest because, and that's why I always say people should choose their words carefully because the subconscious mind, as well as the universe, takes things literally. And I believe that over a period of time that we lost some of our ability to manifest due to the fact that we started mincing our words. Like words are powerful. I believe that we cast spells with words. I've talked about that before. But sometimes we say things that don't make sense. Like, for example, if someone comes in the house and their feet are hurting, their shoes are too tight, and they say, "Oh, my feet are killing me." Because we say things like that, I think that has made us lose some of our power of manifestation. Because it's very important how we choose our words. And I think back in the day, our ancestors could literally just speak things into existence. But now it's hard for.
And
I was just going to say it's hard for many
and
people to do now. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a true point. Because sound is vibration. You know what I'm saying? It's like music is universal language. But also too, what we got to get back to right now, we going through a shift on Earth. Like the consciousness is shifting again. In ancient times, we actually didn't even. It was moments where we didn't have to speak because we could communicate telepathically without even having to open our mouth. We already knew. Like, if you remember back a few years ago, it was an island. I think it was called Sentinel Island. And it was one of the last indigenous islands left in the world. And those Christian missionaries came over there like a few years ago. That's one of the only ones that have not been colonized.
Yeah.
And mind you, they don't have no phones on that island. They don't have no books. They living. But when them Europeans showed up on that boat with that Bible, a bow and arrow went through the Bible and hit one of the people in. Now, how did they know? The rest of the world done been through this. We ain't about to go through this.
Right.
So that goes to show you the power of telepathic communication. See, we done been so plugged into these electronics and all these gadgets that actually lower our frequency, and it cuts off our ability to communicate with spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah. So like, we got to get back to being able to communicate like that. Yeah.
That's right, because it really dumbs us down. Like, it makes us lazy. Right. And people don't want to read books now. They can just listen to audio books. We have, we always are on our phones. We're always using electronics. It's like people don't go outside and get in tune with nature because they're always sitting in the house. Kids are in the house playing video games rather than going outside playing hide and seek, tag, and all the stuff, riding bikes like we used to do when we were kids. So it is very different from the way it used to be. And we are losing some of our ability to connect with spirit and to be in tune with nature, because that also helps us to connect with spirit and to the universe.
Right. Absolutely. And I speak about that all the time as far as tapping in with nature, or tapping into what we call the Schumann resonance. The earth vibrates at a certain frequency. And if you can tap into that frequency, that means you're going to raise your level up with Earth. See, Earth is a living organism just like each and every one of us. And she is raising her vibration right now. This is why so many things is happening on the planet, because, you know what I'm saying? The great cosmic mother is coming, had enough. It's like it's time to intervene with all this that's going on the planet. This is why so many different things is happening. So if you actually tuned in right now, it's a powerful time to be alive. If you either gonna go into 5D or you going to 5G. You either gonna go into New Earth or you either gonna go into the metaverse. Whatever you choose. You know what I mean? I'm not here to tell you what to choose, but listen, you know what I'm saying? I know if you get outside right now, I challenge you, anybody, to get outside right now, and get in nature and set aside the technology and just sit in silence.
That's right.
And get out there and breathe and watch how much, you know what I'm saying, how many, watch how you feel start to activate your energy and how you start to feel, because see, they try to keep you plugged into what they want to tell you, which is the news, which is north, east, west, and south, because it covers everything that goes on in the world. So
that's right.
They want to keep you locked into that. You know what I'm saying?
Like we're plugged into the matrix.
Right, the matrix.
Absolutely.
The matrix. Yep.
Absolutely. And by the way, for those of you who saw my interview with Sophia Stewart, who created the Matrix and Terminator franchises, God Ausere is the one who put me in touch with her, because he also interviewed her on his radio show. Right. That's very interesting that you said the Schumann resonance, because I was about to mention that. I've mentioned that to them before, telling them that the spiritually minded person vibrates at the same frequency as the Earth's crust, which is the Schumann resonance.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
exactly.
and another thing we need to stop doing is sleeping with our cell phones close to us at night. Okay?
Absolutely.
That's what we need to stop doing. Ausere, someone says, what is your Cash App?
My Cash App is I am current $ I am currency, and you spell EYE like I am currency. $ I am currency.
$ I am currency. I just put it in the chat. Okay. I just put it in the chat, Mr. Hotel.
Yeah.
Terry said, Queen born day this week. It's actually next week, beloved. It's on Monday. My birthday's on Monday. Okay, so tell everyone about your radio show, because we may have some listeners who live in the same state as you that can tune in or whatever. Or can we listen to it from wherever we are?
No, it's nationally syndicated. You can listen to it from anywhere in the world.
Okay, great.
It's it's based in the Carolinas, but it can be heard. You can stream it on iHeartRadio, Apple Music, TuneIn, or you can go directly to the site. So the name of the show is called Art of the Ancestors Radio, and you can stream that on WDRB Media. It right now it's every Wednesday at 11 p.m. But if you email me, I can actually put you on the list and send you the show. If you can't catch it live, I can email you the show. So, yeah.
I'm putting that in the chat.
Yeah. You go to WDRBmedia.com and click the Listen Live button. That's all you have to do. Or you can stream it on Apple Music, iHeart, and your streaming platforms. Just search for WDRB Media. And again, that's 11 p.m. every Wednesday. Or I can send you copies of the show if you were asleep at that hour and you don't get to catch it live.
Yeah. Okay. So you all heard that, right? Okay, Saladin put it in there. Thank you, beloved. Okay, so make sure you all check out his radio show. Anything else you want to promote? Anything else you have? Any music you want to tell them about, or anything? Websites?
Yeah. Also, my website is called thehouseofancestors.com, and crystals, metaphysical books, even natural health products on there. And also that's where you can go to the book consultations. And I do personal consultations. If anything from working with ancestors to, spiritual cleansing, going through ascensions, working with chakras, anything I can help with, I'm here to help. So thehouseofancestors.com, and you can follow The House of Ancestors on all social media, Instagram, The House of Ancestors, and I think that's pretty much it. Okay. Appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you. So with that all being said, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. But I'm gonna have you back on here. We're gonna have to collab again because this was awesome.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. So I appreciate you coming on and giving all this knowledge and information. It was a very interesting conversation. And everybody, make sure you all tune into Art of the Ancestors. Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I also appreciate you for getting me in touch with Sophia. I really do.
Oh, no problem, man. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Queen, is that the correct email?
One more thing.
They're asking about the
one
email
more thing
for the
too.
radio.
The email is info at the House of Ancestors.
Oh, that's right. I
So
know
that's
that.
info at the, yeah, you got
The
it.
House
You got
of
it.
Ancestors.
Yeah,
Right.
info at the House of Ancestors. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And also too, you can check out some of my work. I think we're gonna relaunch it, but in Black Vibes, Black Vibes magazine. A friend of mine, Jennifer, she started this magazine about a year or so ago and brought me on as a writer for the spirituality section. So I think it's gonna be revamped. We had Tasha Smith on the cover, the actress Tasha Smith,
Okay.
for the last issue. So yeah, so you can be looking out for that too soon. You know, we're gonna it's in the construction phases, so we're gonna revamp that too. So,
Okay, sounds good. Well, thank you so much.
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and conclude the broadcast. Everyone, please make sure you like the video, okay? And I want to thank you again for coming on. And like I said, we'll be collabing again. And you all make Queen is killing it in these interviews. Woo, with this Mr. Hotel. Thank you, beloved.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
Thank you. Okay. Yes, I meet some very good people. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say peace to everybody. Peace to everybody in the chat too, man. Peace to everybody in the chat. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So you enjoy the rest of your strong end. I never say the weekend because it leaves us in a weekend state. All right, and everyone enjoy your weekend. I love you all to life. Thank you. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to conclude the broadcast, and I will talk to everyone soon. Remember, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Peace. Peace.